Welcome back to Retro Vault Horsepower Never Dies. I'm Retro Vault 4, and today we're finally Horsepower Never Dies. I'm Retro Vault 4, and today we're finally the legend itself, the 1967 Chevrolet Impala. Because modern cars forgot what muscle means. This isn't just chrome and steel, it's thunder on four wheels. And of course, this one's dedicated to Baby from Supernatural. Here's a juicy slice of Impala history that sounds more like a plot twist than a corporate memo. Back in 1963, GM decided to step away from racing spotlight and slap down an official ban on installing engines larger than 400 cubic inches in passenger cars. Translation? No more factory-sanctioned monsters roaming the road streets. This ban lasted until 1970, 3 long years after the 1967 Impala we're talking about. But here's where things get fun. Chevy fans, engineers, and performance shops weren't about to let a little red tape stop the horsepower party. Enter the COPO system, short for Central Office Production Order. Originally designed for fleet customers to order taxis, police cars, or other special use vehicles, clever gearheads figured out that you could use it to sneak some serious muscle past the corporate gatekeepers. That loophole meant you could order a 427 cubic inch big block Impala straight from the factory, if you knew the right paperwork tricks. Performance shops like Yenko became legends for exploiting this system and effectively outsmarting GM's own ban. So, while the official story said no big engines, the underground story said otherwise. The Impala became a prime example of how muscle always finds a way, rules be damned. The 67 Chevrolet Impala wasn't just built, it was sculpted like Detroit's version of Michelangelo taking a block of steel and turning it into a rolling art. Its exterior details read like a jewelry catalog for gearheads. Bright lower body side moldings, roof drip cap, and reveal moldings on hardtops, and shiny side window accents that gave sedans and wagons just enough sparkle to catch the sun. Station wagons even got the full chrome treatment with lower tailgate reveal moldings, while all models flexed their style with a silver deck lid center panel and a proud Chevrolet emblem on the rear cove. The tail lamps, surrounded by bold black accents, looked like eyes glaring anyone foolish enough to tailgate. But the real showstopper was the new Coke bottle styling. Sleek curves, Corvette-inspired fender bulges, and a muscular stance that made the Impala look like it was flexing, even at a red light. These curves peaked with the 67 and 68 models, making them the most hourglass Impalas ever. Of course, Uncle Sam insisted on some practicality, so Chevrolet added safety features like a collapsible steering column, shoulder belts, and side marker lights, because even a muscle car needs to keep its drivers in one piece. Chevrolet made sure the 67 Impala could suit everyone from the Sunday Cruiser to the Stoplight Warrior. At the base, you had the 250 cubic inch inline 6, cranking out 155 horses and 235 foot-pounds of torque. With its Rochester one-barrel carburetor and cast iron block, it was the bread and butter engine. Dependable, efficient, and about as exciting as a lukewarm cup of coffee, but it got the job done. Step up to the base V8, the 283, and suddenly you're sipping espresso instead. With 220 horsepower and 290 foot-pounds of torque, it gave the Impala enough pep to make highway merges less of a prayer, more of a plan. Then came the sweet spot, the 327 V8, delivering 275 horses and 355 foot-pounds of torque. With the Rochester 4-barrel carb, it had enough punch to make your right foot grin. For those who wanted real muscle, the 396 turbojet made 325 horses and 410 foot-pounds, while the 427s turned the Impala into a highway sledgehammer. The L36 packed 385 horses, but the mythical L72, only 11 of these were made, boasted 425 ponies and the same earth-twisting 460 foot-pounds of torque. That wasn't just an engine, it was a legend in cast iron, the holy grail of Impalas. When it came to drivetrain and transmissions, the 67 Impala gave buyers a buffet of choices, like Chevrolet knew everyone from Grandpa Sunday Drives to drag strip daredevils would want a seat at the table. The center setup was the classic 3-on-the-tree manual, a column-shifted 3-speed that was fully synchronized. It was rugged, reliable, and gave drivers that satisfying clunk between gears, perfect for anyone who liked to feel connected to their machine. For those wanting more thrill, the Muncie M20 4-speed manual was available across all V8 options. With crisp shifts and plenty of control, it was like giving the Impala a pair of dancing shoes, ready to boogie down the quarter mile or carve up country roads. If clutch pedals weren't your style, Chevrolet had you covered. The 2-speed Power Glide automatic, offered with the inline 6 and the 283 V8, was smooth, simple, and durable, though critics often joked it had one gear to get you moving and another to get you arrested. Meanwhile, the 3-speed Turbo Hydromatic 400 was the heavyweight champ, available with the 327, 396, and 427 V8s. This slush box could handle a big torque without breaking a sweat. For the economy-minded, overdrive was even an option with the base 6-cylinder and 283 V8, because sometimes saving pennies at the pump mattered more than smoking tires. Underneath all that chrome and muscle, the 67 Impala rode on GM's trusty B-body platform, a backbone so versatile it carried everything from family sedans to full-blown muscle machines. Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of chassis designs, strong, adaptable, and ready for just about anything you threw at it. Up front, the Impala flexed a tubular control arm suspension with a sway bar. Translation? The car didn't wallow around corners like a boat in choppy water. Instead, it had just enough poise to keep the driver confident, even if the sheer size of the Impala still made it feel like steering your living room couch through traffic. In the back, a trailing armored suspension with its own sway bars kept all that horsepower planted where it belonged, on the pavement. While not as razor-sharp as a sports car, it delivered a surprisingly smooth and composed ride for something this large, making the Impala equally at home pulling into the drive-in or barreling down the highway. The combination gave the 67 Impala a balance of comfort and control that made it stand out. Sure, it wasn't a ballet dancer, but it was one heck of a heavyweight prizefighter in a tailored suit. Step inside the 67 Impala and you'll find it was more than just muscle. It had manners too. Chevrolet dressed the cabin with thoughtful touches like upgraded door panels featuring carpeting on the lower sections, colored key floor mats, and bright trim that made even the pedals look like they belonged on a stage. Armrests came with built-in ashtrays because in 1967, smoking was basically considered a personality trait, and the glove compartment was lockable, just in case someone tried to swipe your Elvis cassettes. The seating options were plush, with cloth and vinyl upholstery standard, plus foam cushioned rear seats for long cruises. For those who wanted a more modern vibe, all vinyl upholstery was newly available in a rainbow of colors, no longer limited to just black on sporting models. Convertibles and wagons got vinyl as standard, while two-door hardtops and coupes enjoyed more flexibility. Technology? Oh, the Impala had some clever tricks up its sleeve. A stereo 8-track player brought cutting-edge sound, the fiber optic light monitoring system made you feel like you were piloting a spaceship, and vacuum-powered door locks felt downright futuristic. Throw in a power-operated convertible top, roof-side rail lights, and a brushed metal instrument panel, and the Impala wasn't just brawn. It had brains and class, too. When it came to putting power to the pavement, the 67 Impala didn't rely on luck. It relied on engineering. Enter the posi-traction rear axle, Chevy's way of saying, why let just one tire have all the fun? With posi, both wheels dug in, giving you better traction off the line and fewer embarrassing one-wheel burnouts in front of your buddies. To tame all that mass and muscle, Chevrolet offered power steering and power brakes, turning the Impala from a potential heavyweight wrestling match into a smooth, manageable cruiser. With power steering, even parallel parking this land yacht felt less like a workout and more like a glide. Power brakes meant stopping this beast didn't require the leg strength of a professional linebacker. For 1967, front disc brakes became available for the first time, giving the Impala some serious stopping confidence. And if you shelled out for the SS427 package, they came standard. Because when you're packing nearly 400 horsepower under the hood, drums alone just don't cut it. Altogether, these features made the Impala a balance of muscle and manners. It could rumble, roar, and race, but thanks to modern touches, it could also stop and steer without breaking a sweat, or your spine. This Impala was not a car you lost in the parking lot. With a length of 213.2 inches, this thing was practically a city block on wheels. At nearly 80 inches wide, it owned its lane with the kind of presence that made compact cars look like nervous chihuahuas next to a Great Dane. And at 54.4 inches tall, the Impala had that low stretch stance like it was crouching ready to pounce even when parked. Its 119-inch wheelbase gave it the kind of stability you'd expect from a cruise ship. Long highway stretches, the Impala floated down the road like it was surfing an endless wave of asphalt. Yet despite its size, it wasn't a complete heavyweight. At around 3,500 pounds, it was hefty enough to feel solid, but not so bloated that it lumbered like a barge. That balance of dimensions gave the Impala its dual nature, big enough to haul the family and command respect, but lean enough to dance when you asked it to. Sure, it wasn't exactly parallel parking friendly, but let's be honest, when you drove a 67 Impala, you weren't worried about fitting in, you were worried more about standing out. And to stand out, it did. This 67's Impala came with strengths that made it a superstar of its era, and weaknesses that keep restorers busy even today. Let's start with the good stuff. Styling was a home run. Those Coke bottle curves, Corvette-inspired bulges, and chrome accents gave it muscle and elegance in equal measure. Add in a wide variety of engines from the humble inline 6 to the fire-breathing 427 L72, and you could build an Impala for grandma or a street racer with the same basic platform. Comfort was another ace. With foam cushioned seats, colored keyed carpeting, and enough interior options to feel downright luxurious, the Impala proved you didn't need to sacrifice comfort for performance. Now the weaknesses. At over 213 inches long, parking an Impala was like docking the Titanic. Fine on open roads, less fun in tight city streets. Fuel economy? Let's just say it drank like a sailor on shore leave, especially with the big blocks. Rust was another notorious enemy. Those wide panels and undercarriages were like magnets for corrosion. And while handling was decent for the time, no one would confuse a 67 Impala with a nimble sports car. Still, when you weighed the flaws against its power, style, and presence, the Impala was, and remains, a legend worth every compromise. The 1967 Chevrolet Impala wasn't just another car rolling off the assembly line. It was a statement, a steel-clad symphony of style, power, and presence. From its Coke bottle curves to its monster V8 options, this was the kind of machine that didn't whisper down the road. It thundered. Sure, it had its quirks. Fuel economy that could make your wallet cry, handling that felt more like linebacker than ballerina, and a size that made parking a test of patience. But that's the charm, isn't it? Cars like the 67 Impala weren't built to blend in, they were built to stand out, to take up space, and to remind the world that horsepower is more than just a number. So now the question's on you. If you had the keys to a 67 Impala, would you daily drive it, or save it for those weekend joyrides when only a classic will do? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this ride through automotive history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more muscle-packed deep dives, and stick around for the next legend. Until then, keep it loud, keep it classic.